Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, this is a very simple amendment that just basically says, in the event that there's any money found in excess of what HB1 came over from the Senate conference and the joint meeting, or if there's a reallocation of dollars inside of HB1 that is prioritized to Health and Human Services and Public Education in direct proportion to what we sent it over there. So it's just basically saying, in the event we do a better job of getting more money to the process, that it goes to Health and Human Services or Education. So that's all it does.
Mr. Hartnett, for what purpose?
Mr. Speaker, will the gentleman yield for a question?
Fair to yield.
I yield.
Can you explain that? I didn't understand it at all.
Here's the deal. We sent a budget over to Senate. Senate sent a budget back. In the event that through the conference process more money is added to the budget, or in the event they start allocating dollars inside of those budgets through the conference, I'm just asking that we make Health and Human Services and Public Education the priorities in direct proportion to what those budgets were allocated before the amendment. So any monies that we find, or any monies we add, or any monies that we move, go to those two budget items in the budget instead of maybe to some other article in the budget process.
Okay, so like the driver's license issue that I'm very concerned about would not get any extra money. Is that right?
That's correct. And the reason being, we are in a situation where we have to prioritize our spending. For months, we've heard from our constituents in both Health and Human Services, Medicaid, provider, and education. And if I have to make a decision between fees for driver's licenses or nursing home providers or education, we ought to be able to prioritize that. That's all I'm saying is let's make sure we prioritize the monies that become available through the conference process to those two areas.
But shouldn't we leave this to the discretion of the conferees, who I believe all of whom typically have served on appropriations for years and really understand better than
I would
you
hope
and me?
that I would wish and hope that this amendment was not necessary. But to be honest with you, at where we are in the process, I don't want to leave it up to the discretion of five folks that the priorities may be other than just for Health and Human Services or Education.
Mr. Madden, for what purpose?
Will the gentleman yield?
I yield.
Representative Perry, you've worked on us on corrections, and you're aware that we have certain areas in this budget that are definitely not funded to the level we know we need, such as correctional managed health care within the system. Your amendment, I believe, cuts off any additional funds being used in an area where we significantly need additional money that was not in our budget that we sent out of here. You're understanding that, right?
I respect that, and I understand where we are with correctional managed health care. I also understand that we're in a situation where we're trying to do some other options. I also believe that serving on corrections, that we did fund an extra $250 million to the corrections that funded the programs on diversion side that we've been integrating.
And you are aware, are you not, that there was at least major stories today about the differences in transportation funding?
I absolutely.
Between the House and Senate, and what you're basically restricting us or telling our conferees not to do is not to consider that there may be a possibility of a very high priority being needed for those. You're basically also saying in a mathematical formula that those monies should be done on a proportional basis exactly, and that may not be what we really need to do. We may have a higher priority for public education than even we have for nursing homes, and you're restricting that. Thank you.
President Sheffield raises a point of order. Gentleman's time expired.